The all-new BMW X3, presented by Bmw. First-class transport.
Sports utility vehicle, SUV. The truth, like many others, even the all-new X3 hasn't been made for sports utilities. But what is it for? Style, power, luxury, space, or for all of that? Which of these characteristics does it offer? Is it so good that we can forgo the X5? See all this now.
Hi, welcome, I'm Chris. Subscribe to my channel for not missing any video anymore. Today it's all about the all-new BMW X3. Yes, these middle-sized SUVs have to deal with a reputation of being the so-called soccer mom SUVs. So an SUV for parents bringing their children to soccer games on Sundays for showing that they're driving an SUV, but neither needing the ground clearance nor the all-wheel drive capabilities. But does the BMW X3 deserve this reputation, or is it maybe a fully valuable family car that maybe makes the X5, so the bigger brother, superfluous? This we're going to find out, but we're going to get it started with the looks, because as you can see, there is a lot that's changed to the predecessor.
No question, the new X3 is more adult and more elegant in its new design. A lot bigger front grille with vertically arranged braces. Too big for this car? Maybe at first sight. The lights that you can see here are full LED, replacing the xenons. Many parts of the front are kept in silver matte accents. In this case, it's a new line called X-Line. The only place where the new X3 stays faithful to its predecessor is the lateral view, though it gained wheelbase and interior space. Here you can see one part of the surround camera system, which is really intelligent, as I will show you later. Like the front grille, even the backlights could be a bit too big in your eyes for being in harmony with the rest. But only at the beginning. After a day I started loving the newly designed backlights, full LED. Finally, even the smallest engine variant comes with 2 exhaust pipes instead of only one, what looked a bit shabby on the predecessor. Even the boot space or cargo space got bigger, 550 litres, which shall fulfill every need. Underneath the main platform, you can find additional storage space. And now, let's check out the interior.
I was totally surprised. So I was so surprised and so flashed because I didn't expect it to be that luxurious. So it looks like an X5 from the interior. So basically, from off the line, I can't really tell you a difference between the X5 and the X3 from the interior. Maybe a little bit more space, but the air condition unit, these wooden trims, the nav, so this natural rough wood that looks gorgeous, the huge 10.2-inch screen coming from the 5 BMW, the digital dashboard, the newly designed steering wheel, and everything about it. And if you now think that this must be the luxury line, it isn't. There is 3 available packages. You can have the M line, of course, the M Sports line, being sportier, the luxury line, and this is the X line. So this beautiful bright leather combined with the wooden trims and these galvanized aluminium trims. Galvanized means to make it feel like it was a massive steel by touching it. It's not, of course, it's just galvanized, but this additional feature costs you about 150 euros or something like that. Let's get to the technical aspect. There's not so much surprising because we already know all these kinds of things from the 5 BMW, from the 7 Series BMW, starting with the digital dashboard. Looks, even if it's natural nowadays, looks gorgeous, so I love it. I love how it looks like. Then of course the 10.2-inch screen, just like I mentioned, it coming from a 5 Series BMW. And there is things that you can leave away, so I recommend you. We have the option for a head-up display, finally. Luckily, take the head-up display. Yes, it costs you about, let me check it, 980 euros. Well, leave away, if you have to watch the money, maybe the gesture control. This is something, it's nice, but it's not really necessary. Just now, take a look at it. Okay, so it's nice, but sometimes it doesn't work because you really have to have your fingers in the right position so that the sensors can really see your fingers. Now it doesn't work. I don't really know where it is. So this is something that I'd never be using anyway, because I got used to the classical buttons on the steering wheel, because this is an additional another 250 euros. I mean, be honest to yourself, would you use it? I think no. Yeah, some little things like, let's get over this list quickly. The Harman Kardon sound system coming for an additional 1,090 euros. Of course, in a car like this, it might be sensible having it. Galvanized buttons, already mentioned. Apple CarPlay if you have an Apple phone, 300 euros. If you have an Android phone, left in the darkness, again, because it doesn't have Android Auto. The digital display, as I can see it now, it's not included, so you have to pay additional 390 euros for the digital instruments, but please do it. Oh yeah, one last thing, the acoustic glazing. So the front windshield is already acoustic glazing. This is for free, but you can also have the side windows acoustic glazing. Well, 150 euros, it's okay. So altogether, the interior impression is stunning. I would have never expected to look like a 7 Series or 5 Series BMW. There is no big difference. So from the interior, asking the question if you really need a BMW X5, no is my answer, because it already convinces a lot. The stitches already here and here, even underlining this leather lookalike application, and yeah, lots of piano painting, really sensitive for scratches, but beautiful. And the X3 logo down below here. And last but not least, before we're checking out the seats, this camera system. So maybe sometimes I sound like a granddad, but this is something, come on man, I'd like to show you this. If you go into the reverse gear, you can see the camera, really good quality. And now you can see it from the back camera here. So you can choose between the different perspectives. Now of course the touchscreen comes to its benefit. You can choose between the different modes. And the cool thing is, now take a look at it. If I'm turning the steering wheel, also the camera turns with it. Take a look at that. Take a look at that. So this tree that we couldn't see from the straight angle, we can suddenly see by turning the steering wheel to the right, and you can see it. So it has a lot bigger angle than you got used to it from a normal reverse camera. Take a look at that. That's so stunning. I was so surprised. These are the sensible features where I say, guys, that's a really good job that you did. Because you can see a complete environment, so children running around, dogs, whatever. So it's a fantastic security aspect, and it really makes fun of using it. Look at the angles that I can set, so you can have every angle, the bird view, the lateral view, front view, back view, with the camera that turns with the steering wheel. All this for the car wash. Man, they have thought through everything, because you know this situation, you drive into a car wash, especially with an SUV, and it's really tight, and if you go into the car wash mode, it shows the car from the bird view, directly from the bird view, so that you can see everything the right way if you're really standing in a straight line for not scratching the rims. Fantastic, man. The seats, really good, really comfortable. I'm 1.88 m, 6'2". Maybe I'm saying something vice versa, like in other cars where you can't set the seats lower. Here you can't set the seats higher. So I'm sitting quite low, as you can see, because I have 2 fists of headroom here. 2 fists of headroom is really a lot, and I can't put the seat higher. For me, it's not a problem because I'm quite tall, but for someone 1.60 m, women for example, you're just about 28 centimeters lower with your eyes, and it might be a problem of looking over the steering wheel. Yeah. Sitting behind myself, what to say? Yeah, maybe in an X5 you have more knee room if you are sitting behind yourself, but I'm 6'2". This I have to add, but still I'd feel totally okay by traveling a few hundred kilometers here. The headroom is still, like on the front seats, really nice, and if you just put up the headrest, you can sit here comfortably, and my knees are not touching the seat anyway. You shouldn't be really so much taller than me for not getting issues with your knees, but this has the necessity of someone being as tall as you are sitting on the front seat, but you can skip your legs, and it's really nice sitting here. So guys, let's come to the title of my video. Is the X3 better than the X5? Of course not, but we can ask this question a different way. Is the X5 maybe superfluous? And this question I'm so close of answering with yes. I mean, what else do you want? The interior, not a bit worse or less valuable than in the X5. This is what I was so surprised about. And the offer with the engines is also almost the same like the X5 has it. Start with the petrol versions. It's the 20i with 184 horsepower, 2-litre 4-cylinder, and the 30i, which is no 6-cylinder anymore, even if the name tells so. It's a 2-litre 4-cylinder as well, 252 horsepower, and the top version right now is the X3 M40i, based on the B58 6-cylinder engine with 360 horsepower, and this is exactly the same engine like you can find it in the M140i, M240i, 340i, 540i and 740i. This famous, really stable, fantastic B58 6-cylinder engine, even if the others have a bit have a bit less horsepower, of course, than the X3 has. And then there's going to be, following up, a real M version, but we have to wait for this to come.
And of course, there's also the engine palette with the diesels. Everything starts with the 20D that we are currently driving, a 2-litre 4-cylinder 190 horsepower, the 25D, which bases on the same engine, just a bit more horsepower, 231 horsepower, and the two 6-cylinders. The 30D with 265 horsepower, and the M40D, which has just got introduced after I have finished my test, being the counterpart to the M40i with the impressive amount of 326 diesel horsepower.
Many people say driving an SUV is really bad for the environment. You can't find parking spaces, and it's just a disadvantage of driving an SUV, and it's just for showing who you are. But the 20D proves the opposite in my eyes, starting with the fuel consumption average. So if you are exceptionally driving in a city traffic like Munich, permanently stop and go, you can drive below 10 litres, and if you're driving a mixture, you're not going to have more than 7 litres per 100 kilometers, and on the highway it's less than 6 litres thanks to the new engine, thanks to the 8-speed automatic transmission, and of course it's coming along with the latest Euro 6 standard with that blue that makes it possible for you entering the cities with no issues. But jump to the 30D, so the 3-litre 6-cylinder, is more expensive, so there you have to count about 8,000 euros. And I'd say rather get this one. We have more and more traffic, and you can't drive faster anyway. And take this car, fully optional, or at least with the most important things. Head-up display, 980 euros, so there is a lot coming together. The galvanized buttons, the acoustic glazing, some sensible things, but 150 euros, yeah, you have to decide it. And there is a sunroof, which this car doesn't have, but coming for 1,500 euros additionally. The leather seats, 1,300 euros, even if I recommend you to take darker ones because of the rub-off of the jeans, which you can already see here. There is a brown, fantastically nice looking brown leather, for example, and of course the fantastic smart key with a display for an additional 250 euros. So I say if you take a almost fully optional X3, you could say it's about 60,000 euros, and almost 70,000 if you take the 3-litre 6-cylinder diesel. Driving comfort. this is again something where the X3 can be easily compared to the X5 because it's a family traveling car which has to be smooth and calm, and it is. So as you can hear, I'm driving now about 50 kilometers per hour and you can't even hear anything from the diesel, and that's really nice, and that's also really important. The only thing where the diesel is going to be bothering is when you are throttling it, because then you can hear the nailing diesel. That's not an issue of the X3, it's an issue in general about the four-cylinder diesels anyway, and then a four-cylinder, so you have a double package of disadvantages from the sound aspect, if I can say it so. So the acceleration goes, I mean, it's a diesel, still 400 Newton meters that are pushing us forward. You shouldn't be expecting miracles, but it's not like I'd be missing something, and I'm a performance driver. But as you can see, so the dynamics and the curves, really it's stable, no bathtub character. It really makes lots of fun driving this car on a curvy road, and this makes me talking about the chassis. Normally I would never go for a BMW without an M package, but the X-Line package, which is new, so this so-called X-Line was really surprising me driving it on a country road like here, because the dampers are really stiff, reliable, not spongy, so I'm not missing an M chassis. The brakes are not M brakes, so it's not the M package, it's the X-Line, but I'd even say here, just like with the dampers, not really necessary, because the dosing is good and you feel suddenly comfortable with these brakes, and even after having slowed down quite strongly many times, it's totally fine. And of course, due to the smaller wheelbase, it's easier to maneuver this car around corners and in the city traffic, so I can only see until now advantages to the X5, even if of course the X5 is more more exclusive than an X3 is.
So before we get to the conclusion, here are the things that I recommend you to take and that I don't. What I don't recommend is the gesture control. You won't use it, and the classical buttons on the steering wheel are definitely enough. Then the acoustic glazing. As the front windshield comes standard in acoustic glazing, I think it's a waste of money to have the side windows as well acoustic glazing. And as beautiful as the bright leather is, bear in mind the jeans rub off. They're gonna be dirty within a short period of time. And no parking assist. I mean, come on guys, you're a lot faster doing it on your own if you have a little bit of driving skills. This costs a bunch of money. What I would take is the head-up display, the digital instrument cluster, and the galvanized buttons, making the car look a lot more valuable from the interior, and last but not least, the smart key, offering many interesting functions like starting the air conditioning unit, for example.
Apple CarPlay for the nav. If you have an iPhone, if you have an Android, well, as I said at the beginning, you just totally lost. I can't understand this. So this is the only criticism for me as a Android user. I'm totally missing that, and I feel just like a bit hated by BMW just because I'm using Android and I have no connection capabilities. With the packages, you just have to know you can also get a standard 20D without the X-Line, because the X-Line, this you have to know, costs 5,200 euros, so you can even have the X3 20D starting at 44, or how much will it be? Yeah, 44,000 euros instead of 49. So that's such a big difference. Well, as a conclusion, I think we can confidently say that the BMW X3 can keep up the race with his bigger brother, the BMW X5, in many aspects. An unexpected luxurious interior and plenty of interior space, like the 550 litres expecting you behind the boot lid. The only thing that this car can't do, like the X5, is being a car from the big size SUV class. But do you really need that? That's the question. 550 litres is definitely enough. You have a 6-cylinder diesel and a 6-cylinder petrol version in the offer. And if you take the 20D like in our test with the X-Line, you will arrive at about 60,000 euros, having the options like head-up display, the big nav, the leather seats, the galvanized trims, and the security features like the active cruise control and so on. Yes, That's quite a lot of money for a 2-litre 4-cylinder diesel, but on the other hand you have to see that there is still a difference between the cars from the Asian market, even if these are really fantastic cars, but you can see the difference in interior quality, build quality, luxury and also assist features. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for not missing any videos anymore, and leave me thumbs up if you like the video, and tell me in the comment box which car you'd prefer over the X3, or would you maybe even go for the X5 and you say it's worth the 20 or 15,000 euros more that you have to spend on it. I'm Chris, thank you.